friends, and welcome to the fifth layer of hell. I mean, the Unlike Anime podcast. My name's George, and with me is Tony.
You can call me Satan.
We haven't seen Satan just quite yet in this continuing series, Made in Abyss, which I was hinting at in the opening there. There's different layers, and we're descending into one of them today.
Like an onion?
Sort of, yeah.
Or more like a parfait.
I don't know. It's where each layer gets more and more.
I'm referencing Shrek now.
Oh, okay.
If you didn't get that.
Yes, yeah.
I'm sure
the onion layers.
Some listeners got that. Good for you guys. You got it faster than George did.
So for anyone who has heard of a little anime called Made in Abyss, not Maiden, Made in Abyss.
What is a bis? It's made in
an
abyss.
Abyss.
What's abyss?
Like that's what you make a bisque in, right? You gotta get a bis.
Oh yeah. You just throw some lobster in there, and
you
got a lobster bis.
Yep. My God. 2017 is when the original Made in Abyss.
Is it that long ago?
Anime
I mean, it feels like a long time ago. I mean, I guess that's not that long ago, but it feels like that long ago. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. 4 years. It's
an eternity in anime time.
Yeah. Well, but for any show, waiting that long to get a sequel, I think, let's see.
It came out in Japan like mid last year, I think.
January in Japan.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure when it became available here, but we noticed not too long ago, I think a couple months ago, that this new movie, which is a continuation of that original 13-episode season, is on High Dive.
So only 13 episodes? God, it feels so much longer.
I know, right?
Like that could be like 26. They really crammed it in there. That's pretty good.
I remember it being paced nicely.
Oh yeah. I didn't have a problem with the pacing. It sort of felt a little slow towards the end, even a little.
Yeah, I think maybe there's all these layers and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's like our goal. We're like we want to get to the bottom. We want to find out what the F is up with this abyss, right?
Yes. So yeah, this came out in 2017. It was this first season. It was talked about, and people were into it, and then 3 years till we got this movie. In between then, there was 2 recap movies that came out, basically splitting up that first season, retelling that story. Never saw those. Not sure how they are paced. Usually, recap movies are a bit rough if you haven't seen the original.
I feel like I might have watched the first one, not knowing that it was a recap. And I mean, obviously, I realized pretty quickly on it was just a recap. But I think I watched it.
Oh, really? The first one?
But I don't think I watched the second one.
Yeah, I don't think I saw either. And I'm wondering, we were talking earlier about this new movie or
Abyss?
Newest movie. If people just went under the radar because it's only on High Dive in America at least. I don't know about the rest of the world, but for streaming purposes, which is a lesser known streaming platform. So I don't know if people thought it was just another recap or not something to check out, but it's a direct continuation.
Yeah, or like me, they watched the whole first season and then like the movie came out and they didn't realize it was a recap, and then they watched it and they're like, well, I'm not watching any more of these movies. I'm just going to wait till the next season comes out.
Yes.
Which is next year.
Yes.
But you need to have watched this movie.
Yeah, if you watch the next season that's coming out next year, 2022, you're going to be pretty confused.
So season, recap, movie, and then another season.
And Demon Slayer did a similar thing. I don't know if there's probably recap movies, so I'm not sure about that. But yeah, they had 26 episodes.
Oh yeah, there's this one movie where he just punches a rock for the whole movie. You haven't seen that?
There's the 26 episodes, and then there's the movie, which is a direct continuation, and then there's a new season coming out later this year. So it's interesting.
It's interesting, yeah. It's different than a lot of anime do it, where they, do usually at least a couple of seasons, and then they do a movie that is its own separate, like almost non-canon thing, but doesn't matter at all. So it doesn't matter if it's canon.
It's like a one-off.
And then they come back and do the next season, which just completely ignores everything that happened during that movie because it didn't matter.
Yeah, it's just like a holdover for the fans and not much else.
Just something to be like, oh, people like this? Oh, we can get more money? Oh, well, let's make some money.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what the Demon Slayer movie did because that broke tons of box office records, like Japan's highest grossing film now. And maybe it's just based on the popularity of that show to begin with and that manga, but perhaps the promotion, like they made it clear this movie is more story that you want. It's not just some BS shonen action plot that goes nowhere.
I wonder if X-Files was the first to do that. Because, I mean, they didn't have another season coming up at the time, but they did their seasons, and then they did a movie, and then the movie was just sort of the end, right?
I think of that.
And then they had this reboot, not reboot, but what do you call it? It's a continuation. The series is a continuation of the original, right?
Yeah. You're talking about the newer
one.
Yeah. Well, there's actually two movies because the first movie they did was after, I think, it did the third or fourth season.
Okay.
And then it came out in between.
Was it important? Like, did you need to watch that before you watched the next season? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's been done before. X-Files did it.
Yes. So if you've never seen Made in Abyss, it's set in like a sci-fi fantasy world.
Dystopian, future-esque sort of.
Yes. And we're not given much like canon or backstory to the world and stuff, but we just start in this town where there's this giant hole at this abyss.
And the town is an island. People come to the island to explore the abyss and stuff like that. I recall this. But yeah, it's basically it's a ring. It's an annulus, I think, is the proper
nice
term, maybe?
Drop in terminology.
It's like a geometry term, yeah.
And so we follow these orphans. The parallels between this and Promised Neverland is orphans dystopian, but we have these orphans. The main one being
Rico.
Rico, yes.
Rico,
Uncle Rico.
See, when I hear Rico, I think of Starship Troopers, but
nice.
Uncle Rico, sure, that works too.
And so in the beginning, she finds this robot. Yada yada, and she finds out her mom is, I guess she knew, but her mom was an explorer down to the depths, furthest depths of this abyss.
It's a very advanced robot. I don't think she knows it's a robot right at first. She just thinks it's a person or a boy.
I think so, yeah.
But she comes to realize that it's robotic in nature. It's very more android-like, or maybe even Borg-like. Sorry, I've been watching too much Voyager lately, but
yeah, android, cyborg.
Cyborg is actually pretty good. Although it might not be right because I don't think any of his skin or anything else is actual natural. Like it's all fake. So he is more properly a robot, but he's not like Robbie the robot or anything. He's look like a robot.
Highly advanced.
Yeah.
But then also he's supposed to be, so there's these relics in this abyss that are like ancient technology, seemingly, that we don't know a lot about. And he seems to be connected to that somehow. And so
he's a steampunk robot. Yeah, that's it.
Pretty much, steampunk. And that's purposely left vague. Like we learn more throughout that first season that there's a connection between him and Rico's mom. And that, she may have sent him to help her get down to the abyss. And I don't know. So it follows their journey, kind of escaping, getting out of their orphanage, under the cover of night. And then the two of them going on an adventure.
Making their voyage into the abyss.
Yeah. And his name is Reg. I don't think I said that.
Reg.
Reggie.
I mean, you could easily say leg as Reg, but
that's true.
They choose Reg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. But yeah, you watched this season, I think, when it came out.
Yes.
I watched it a little bit year after that or something like that.
I'm actually amazed how much I remember. It must have been very good.
Stick with you. Or stuck with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still in there. It's a little fuzzy, a little foggy. I have to dig to get the pieces out, but yeah, it's pretty solidly there. Like when I was watching this when I was watching this movie, within the first couple of minutes, I was like, okay, I'm up to speed. I know exactly where we are. I remember everything that has happened up until now. It didn't actually take much to, like, it was one line where Nanachi is like, okay, but you have to do what I say because I'm the boss, basically, she says, right? And I was like, oh yeah, that's where we left off, is like they were getting her to join them. I don't know. I'm skipping ahead from the recap that we were just doing, but
Yeah, and I was trying to keep the recap brief so we can. This is a great, good enough segue.
but yeah, she says that, and it reminded me enough anyway that yeah, one of the I think the last thing we see is like them asking them, I don't know, what him. So Nanachi uses some very masculine language, and uses a masculine pronoun for herself. Voiced by a female, so I feel comfortable saying she. Seems like a she.
And maybe just tomboyish. I don't know.
But I don't know. The Japanese pronoun that Nanachi uses is very much just masculine, I think. I don't think females use that at all. So anyway, I actually during the movie, while realizing this, because when I watched the original season, I wasn't as well versed in Japanese as I am now, I guess. So the question never occurred to me. But while watching this, like over and over and over again, I was like being beat over the head with her masculinity. That sounds like a weird thing to say, but with Nanachi's masculinity, just the way things were phrased. And so I looked it up, and apparently a lot of people have questions about that. And I guess it doesn't matter.
Not really.
Non-binary, I suppose. It's not, if it's never really
gender fluid, baby.
I'm trying to think if anyone else refers to Nanachi by a male or female pronoun. I don't recall.
Yeah.
Anyway, I drifted off there a little bit. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. That's good to bring her up, because.
Are we just going with her then?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
All right.
Because we don't really know, but yeah, so it's hard to say. But
yeah,
I'll say she. But she's a rabbit girl.
Yeah.
Who
a hair person, similar to Frau in Peach Boy Riverside.
That's correct.
Which we're not talking about this week.
It'll come up. Stay tuned. But yeah, and what we know about her is that they first meet her, so they ascend through the levels. They get through 1, and then 2 is like an inverted forest, and 3 I can't remember, but then
3 is where they run into that other girl. They show flashbacks of it. The other woman who controls of like some sort of forward operating base thing.
Ozen, I think, is her name.
Okay, I don't remember, but yeah, she helps sort of train them up and toughen them up and stuff like that by basically sending them out into a forest and ignoring them for a week.
Yeah, and when we I'm glad you brought that up, because when we meet her, she eventually reveals that she had helped Rico's mom, whose name is Liza, had a pact with her to get Rico to the top.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess Rico was born in the abyss and was taken to the top, and
like way down the bottom,
and just became an orphan. Yeah, I think at the very bottom, which they keep saying there's 6 layers, and I keep wondering if that's going to be like a.
No, I thought 7. 7 was
there
the bottom.
7?
I thought.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 6, but.
I thought 7 was the bottom. Maybe 8 even. I don't know.
Well, that's what I was hinting at. Whatever number they're sticking with, I feel like it's going to be like, there's another one. But yeah, anyway, so in the 3rd level, they meet this Ozen character who has a white whistle, which we haven't brought up the whistles yet.
White whistle.
Yeah. It's almost like colored belts in karate or something. Like, although white is the best. And you start it with a red one. But yeah, if you have a white whistle, and we learn more about the white whistles, so we'll get into that. But yeah, so then they descend. They get some training from her, descend into the 4th, and then that's when they meet. What is her name?
Nanachi.
Mm-hmm. And she's a rabbit humanoid girl who we learn was experimented on.
Person.
Don't assign gender. Who was experimented on by this character who we did not meet until this movie we just watched, but his name is Bondrude.
Right. And I think Nanachi has mentioned him in the past,
yes.
Right? And then also Nanachi's friend, whose name I
Yes.
don't remember.
His name was Mitty.
Miti. Yeah, that was which was short for something else, I think. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
Miti.
and I think she.
Let's just go with that. Yeah.
So, well, how I understand it, because there's a lot of things that just are thrown at us in this movie and in this show overall. But the way I understand it, we'll see if you agree, is that Nanachi was experimented on by this Bondrewd character, but was the only one out of all these experiments to transcend the curse of the abyss and become something new that wasn't just like some failed experiment, which her friend Mitty had become.
Amorphous blobs
Yeah. But they still have like
with human souls inside.
eyes and mouths and personalities, like somewhat.
Somewhat.
Yeah. And so I remember in the first season that Mitty character takes a liking to Rico, but then Nanachi is like, Reg, I need you to just use your incinerator. He's got this like incinerator arm to just obliterate Mitty to free
just free her.
Yeah,
free Mitty from Mitty's cursed life.
Yeah.
Yes.
And supposedly this Bondrewd character who had created, failed really, but created these failed experiments, like had tried to destroy them and couldn't. That was something I was reading on my recap. But
okay.
And so that was covered in this movie, where once Reg does that, this Bondrewd guy like knows about it. He brings it up when he first sees Nanachi of like,
yeah,
which I guess I'm getting ahead of myself, but
I mean, this is all pretty much at the beginning of the episode, I was going to say, but the movie.
This long episode.
It was just sort of a long drag out episode, yeah.
2-hour episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll let you take it.
2 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just about. I mean, just a little under.
Yeah. So the three of them head down and they run into one of Bondrewd's minions, I guess. I don't know what else to call them. What are they called in the thing? He sort of clones himself, sort of, right?
Multiple, like, well, he's ready to like split his consciousness or something, because like the ones that aren't him, like the real, or not the real him, but like the main him,
right,
are kind of like slow and like speak in like fractured sentences, or fragmented sentences.
Basically do whatever he says, right? Anyway, they run into one of those guys, and they're in this field that has some cursed abomination thing in it that is almost invisible. But of course, Rico knows about it because she's read the journals of the abyss like 1,000 times over and over. She's like, oh, I know what this is. And then, I don't know, things happen, and then they go on to the next part.
Yes. And that comes...
How's that explanation? Things happen and they go on to the next part.
It's sort of like an insect that infests the body and takes it over or something. Yeah. And so one of those minion guys from Bondrewd, sets it all on fire, and they retreat. And but then like right after that, they're able to just get to where Bondrewd is. Yeah.
Well, they had to jump across the ice bridge, which
that's
apparently
true.
Was very dangerous, we heard, after they had done it.
But it seemed pretty easy. Yes, so they go across the ice bridge thing, and they arrive there. And the thing that struck me is, like, we already knew that Nanachi, her history with this Bondrewd guy. And so when they enter this fortress or lair or whatever it is, they're greeted by this new character, this girl, who Prushka.
Prushka.
It's like a Russian, seems Russian.
Sounds Russianish, yeah.
And she like invites them in. She's all friendly and nice, and she's younger, maybe about 12, or she seems younger than that, but yeah.
We're guessing at least 12 based on the size of her breasts.
Yeah, she's anime characters, it gets tricky sometimes. Like,
yeah, it's super weird because like when Prushka first sees them, she says they're all not the same age, but the same size as she is, basically, right? Yeah. And it sort of indicates like age, right?
But yeah, developmentally, it had us questioning all the ages of her and everyone.
Yes. I'm not sure. The ages of Rico, well, Rico would be the only one that we would even possibly have any sort of age reference on.
Yeah.
Might have been covered in the first several episodes of the first season,
Maybe, yeah.
but I don't remember. So
Yeah, me neither. And again, it's not that important, but yeah,
it's noticeable. It's there.
we'll have to get into this Prushka character and how she was portrayed and just screen time and how important.
She's very hospitable. She's very welcoming and warmly greeting them, and
Which we didn't expect.
I'll bet if you said, "Hey Prushka, could you get me a beer?" I'll bet she would do that.
Yeah, probably would.
Yeah.
So
I like just leaving it silent for a long time.
So she leads them, invites them in and leads them to this Bondrewd guy and all his cronies. And they're all, visually kind of forbidding, black clad. They're all wearing like masks with interesting designs on them of like,
they all have
like
sort of
neon
different,
or I don't know.
some sort of light streak.
Yeah.
Sort of inset into the mask, and they're all different.
Yeah.
Except for
the design, yeah.
The main guy is like sort of straight up and down, and his is purple.
Yeah.
And all of theirs are sort of like cyan blue, sort of colored.
And other than
so that you
they're
can
all
identify them,
dressed
I
in
guess.
black, and kind of
Yeah,
mysterious.
black cloak sort of thing. Yeah.
But he's always very cordial and formal, it seems.
Yeah. We should say seemingly cordial.
Yeah. But at least in the words he's saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so what got me, though, is like, of course, from the beginning, Nanachi is like, oh, my God, it's him. And
Yeah.
but then he's like, oh, well, I prepared you a room. And she's like, okay, well, I guess we'll stay. And then things ensue. And
Well, mean, they didn't really have much choice but to stay because there's some explanation about the white whistle only working for the person that it was created for.
Yeah.
And that means that the white whistle that Rico has that belonged to her mother would not work to essentially open the next layer, right?
Yes.
Which is what they need to do.
And Rico's response to that was, oh, yeah, multiple people told me that. I thought it'd just work out.
Well,
But yes, nonetheless.
But so they get there and he's just like, hey, stay the night, and then I'll send you on your way with my white whistle that I can use because I'm totally the person who this whistle was created for. He doesn't say that.
Totally.
And so they decide to stay, and then how does Reg wander out? I don't even remember.
Yeah, they don't show it because
They don't show Reg leave?
they show Nanachi waking up.
Yeah.
And then she wanders out.
Yeah.
And I think Reg's still in there.
Yeah.
But then once we cut back to the room, it's just Rico waking
When Rico wakes up
by herself.
and Reg isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
So we don't know exactly what happened, but he's been abducted by the others, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And they're sort of experimenting on him, sort of hacking him to bits, trying to figure out what makes him work, sort of thing.
Yeah. Just, poking around.
Yeah. Cutting off arms.
And that was a pretty cool scene.
One of them wants a leg, but only one. Only one leg, he said in Japanese.
Just one. That scene was, I liked it, just the way it was framed. It was pretty sadistic, and, Reg, like, wakes up while they're doing this, and they end up, like, cutting his arm off, and, like, blood's going everywhere, and, yeah, it's pretty traumatic. But, yeah, while this is all happening, Rico, for some reason, I mean, she's looking everywhere. Rico.
Sorry.
She's looking everywhere for, everywhere she can go, a lot of locked
right.
doors.
Everything's locked, basically.
And then she's like, oh, I'll go up this staircase that I was told
not to go up.
Yeah, because it'll distort time and space. And
well, you'll basically experience the effects of going up to the next layer. Because when you go up a layer, like, bad shit happens. Like, that's the
it gets
nature
more
of
and
the
more.
abyss, right?
Yeah.
And that staircase, apparently, if you go up that staircase, it takes you to the next layer or something, I guess.
Or you feel the effects.
You feel the effects of it for sure,
Yeah.
which is what they said. But I don't know why you would feel the effects if it wasn't actually taking you to the next layer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, she goes up and, like, weird stuff happens. And then, she wakes up and Prushka has saved her.
Yes. And the whole point of that, I guess, is after that, Prushka shows her, you can close your eyes and use she has a little pet thing. I forget what, Maina or something? Maina?
Patamon?
Yes, looked very much like a Digimon character that you...
Pretty sure it was Patamon. Yeah, Maina. M-E-I-N.
Maina.
Mania, maybe?
Maina.
I don't remember. Something like that. Main something.
Yeah. Little cute, round,
Patamon.
mascot. But it seemed the whole point of that scene was so that Prushka could teach Rico how to do this, basically using, I don't know, using some other sense to go up the staircase and not feel the effects.
Wasn't it something like you had to smell Mania? And then you could see like where it stepped, and everywhere that it stepped was safe for some reason. Somehow it knew how to get up there safely. I don't know.
It wasn't well explained, but yeah, something along those lines. And
but it'll probably be important later, right?
Yep. And they still, at the end, they still have Maina or whatever. I believe. But
yes, at the end of the movie when they're descending to the next layer, I think it's Mania. I think there's a Y in there. I think it's Mania. Mania. Anyway, I think Mania goes along.
Yeah.
And she's very much I say she, but it's probably not accurate. It is very much a Digimon or Pokemon because like a Pokemon, it just says nya, nya all the time, which is part of its name. And that's what Pokemon do.
Yes.
Pika,
Pokemon,
Pika.
Digimon. It's a type of Mon, everyone.
It's a Mon. Yeah.
Totally a Mon.
Miniamon.
And so after this happens, they basically all reconvene and find Reg at the same time. Nanachi hears about it from Bondrewd, who then, she just runs away. We don't see this, but she, runs away after Reg, immediately finds him, and then Bondrewd, doesn't chase after her. He's like, okay.
He had some cleaning to do.
Yeah, he's busy.
He's a busy guy.
And at the time she gets there, Mania and Rico and Prushka show up as well, and they save Reg, and they retreat, leaving Prushka there. And they retreat out into the woods, not very far, and they essentially come up with this plan to... And this kind of begins, their many efforts to take down Bondrewd. Their first attempt.
Many. Because
of this scent that Reg smells, or this odor. I forget what it was, burnt stew or something. Rico, because of her vast knowledge of reading all these books, realizes that is the scent of this, crazy monster that's underground. And so they essentially lure Bondrewd and all his cronies, his Umbra hands in there. And they basically escape while caving in, or trying to cave in this place, waking up, these monsters, and they all attack the Umbra hands. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, oh yeah, we did it. But no, they did not do it. All the Umbra hands are gone, but the main Bondrewd walks out of there like a badass. Giant insect parts flying everywhere.
Like a boss.
That's right. And so
like a boss.
So what happens after that?
Well, when he comes out, he's like, oh, well, I knew those things were there. I was trying to be quiet so I didn't disturb them and they wouldn't attack you. I was just coming into that cave to tell you that you were in danger because those things were there, basically. He's still trying to play the nice guy.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. Which he never really breaks, but
even though his cronies cut off Reg's arm. And they don't do anything on their own really. So it was, I don't know. His cover work's bad, man.
It is. Yeah, I have some issues with his character. But yeah, let's get through this recap, and then we can dive into that.
All right. What happens next?
So after that, what do? They do another plan.
They try and kill him again, and it doesn't work. And then they try and kill him again, and it doesn't work. All right. Moving on. They try and kill him again, and it doesn't work. And then
it somehow does work, even though...
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. So after that, then Reg like smashes him with a rock, basically, and then
Oh yes.
one of the hands, the Umbra hands, comes up and basically rips this helmet off of his head and sticks it on his own head, and then he becomes him. Right?
Again, yeah.
Yeah, and that's when Rico sort of realizes that this artifact must be in play.
Yes, and it's supposed to be like it couldn't be the helmet. It's a much larger thing. So then
Yes.
then Nanachi is like, well, that must be housed in this layer he has. Oh wow, genius idea. And that turns out to be true. And they come up with this new plan. And it's interesting once they like kill him, the Bondrewd guy, and then they find out that he can just be transferred to another person. He just was like, oh well, see ya. He doesn't. He leaves all three of them there. Takes Prushka with him, but he doesn't do anything to them. He's just like,
Yeah.
peace. And so they come up with this plan. Reg goes underwater and like infiltrates, and they go
It's
in
like
the front door.
So he goes underwater because that's where the power generator thing is. Like there's this giant whirlpool, I guess.
Yes.
That this base is built on, and it uses the whirlpool to generate power for the base or whatever. And
Yeah.
so they're trying to take out the power to the base, and so he goes down there to sabotage it.
Yeah, and he does that. And he gets
does.
zapped with a bunch of electricity.
He does.
And that's the last we see of him. Cut to Nanachi and Rico just walking in to create a diversion, I suppose, but they're just kind of walking around. And at first they have like an Umbra hand like escorting them, and then once the power goes out from Reg and all, him messing with the electricity and that that turbine or whatever, then they're able to like slip away, and then they see Mania running around, and Rico follows Mania into some corridor, and then they both follow suit. And then the next we see Reg, he's like bursting through the door to save them, but he's gone completely berserk, and still not sure why.
Because he got electrified. He got recharged. Remember? So they were talking about how, Nanachi was telling him that based on the readout on the thing on his head,
Oh yeah,
that he only had like 3 shots of the super mega blast laser thing left,
Yeah.
whatever they call it. And then, after that, he uses it multiple times. And it's because he got like not just recharged, but he got supercharged from all that electricity that electrified him or whatever. I don't know.
but then he also mentioned after that like hearing other voices, and then like someone else took over his body, and
Yeah.
so I don't know what that's about. But yes, the electricity explains that. Yeah, being able to do his incinerator move more. And then throughout the course of that, we learn that to get a white whistle, you have to sacrifice someone, a human. And so we learn that despite the fact that Bondrewd has sacrificed all these other kids in his experiments and whatnot, he actually used his own body, which I guess he must have already had that other special item that gives him that consciousness to create his white whistle. But anyway, my question is, despite all that, he has a white whistle, but has he not gone down he has yet to descend to the 6th level?
I guess not, because there's, I guess, something that actually happened earlier where they were trying to kill him. They took him down into the water, saying, oh, well, once you go below the surface of the water, you're essentially in the next layer. And then you just have to like sort of trap him there and distract him. And then when he tries to come back up, he'll die because of I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all very...
There's a lot of things thrown at us quick like that of
Yeah.
the logic of this world. And
So, I would guess no, he hasn't ever been down to the next layer, because if he had, he wouldn't have been able to come back, because that's sort of the nature of the
doing
abyss,
it.
right?
Yeah.
You can't come back up from layers
Yeah.
because it mess you up.
And they were saying that he, with his whatever that thing is he has to have his power, he can't straddle between two levels with that. So I guess he would have to take all of it with him. I can't think of what that damn thing's called, but it's some sci-fi fantasy word.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But yeah, anyway, so Reg busts in, goes berserk to save them, ends up firing his incinerator, but then Nanachi, he's about to do like a huge one to like destroy the entire building they're in, and Nanachi like jumps on him and distracts him, and he doesn't do that completely. He still destroys part of it. And then then they just keep fighting and fighting. Well, I guess we can get to the Prushka stuff, but
Yeah, I was going to say we didn't really talk about the Prushka stuff, but
we think it's his daughter.
yes.
But then we learn that it's not really.
Yeah.
Just someone that he, in all of his experiments of, torturing innocent young lives, he had fostered this one girl to become like his daughter, to believe that she was his daughter, and he gave her mania, as a pet, and helped her. She was in really rough shape, completely traumatized, PTSD, and he sort of nurtured her into becoming a quote unquote normal.
And the reason he did that was,
To turn her into a briefcase of guts.
but he turned a bunch of other people into briefcases of guts.
Yeah.
Was she a more powerful briefcase of guts or something? I didn't really get
I thought so, because
why he put in so much effort.
well, there's all that stuff when Prushka, in one of the, when Reg squishes him with a rock, and we think he's dead. Prushka sees all that, but then, and she has feels those emotions and is devastated by it. But then it's revealed that that he's not really dead.
Right.
But she had gone through that, so it seemed like that was kind of necessary for whatever his, he's using them as energy, I guess, or to propel his abilities. And so I guess that makes it, again, this is making me think of Promised Neverland, but like her going through this emotional trauma had made her more powerful, or more gave more energy or something, like she had been completed and she was ready to be turned into a soup.
It seems like, so he's done this to countless other children, I guess, but people. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like he's put this much effort into any of them before.
Correct.
I don't know.
And and it's so weird because during this final battle, he's expelling these briefcases, because the whole plan is that Reg is tiring him out, trying to use up all these briefcases of guts that he has.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what it is. For people
they're called something, cartridges.
Cartridges,
They just call them
yeah.
cartridges, I guess, yeah.
But I think briefcase of guts.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Because that's really, at the end.
They explain it pretty literally, like peeling away layers and stuff like that, and then stuffing it all into this
take
cartridge.
all the unimportant parts out.
Yeah.
And so we see him as Reg is evading his attacks and being kind of, this battle's being drawn out. He's expelling these briefcases as if he's using them up, right? And then he expels this one, and there's special attention paid to it, and it's like, oh, that's Prushka. It becomes evident.
Yes.
And Mania runs up to it and it's like still leaking stuff out, which I was confused by that. You'd think if you're expelling it, it'd be like gone, like a cartridge, right? It would be like empty.
Yeah.
But this briefcase continues to spew stuff out.
It's not using the matter so much as it is the soul or the being of whatever's put in there, I guess. The life force of it. So
I guess so.
But it does, it's definitely indicated that she is essentially still alive in there.
Yeah.
Even after she's ejected. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's unclear.
Unclear.
And also, to your point, like, he spent so much time and energy to her, invested in her specifically, just to use her in this, like, battle with these kids. Like, we're just like, he expelled a bunch of cartridges.
Right.
And she went kind of quicker than the ones previous, it seemed.
I think so. Like the first time we see cartridges expelled, it's like 3 of them, like all at once. Like, boom,
that's
boom,
true.
boom, right?
Yeah.
And then like she's just the one. So she was like a triple cartridge, I guess. So all this time put into you could put the time into 3 just fucking normal. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, then he's still got.
It doesn't make
beat.
sense. That's it. It just doesn't make
Doesn't
sense.
make sense.
It
Yeah.
doesn't.
I mean, clearly we have to beat this guy to go to the next level.
Yeah.
So on a certain level or a certain, framework, like that's all that needs to happen. But it felt flat. Like it wasn't felt.
Yeah.
But anyway, their plan at the end is that Reg shoots him with the incinerator again, but then boom, from behind a rock nearby, Rico has gotten the other arm that was taken, removed, pretty viciously, and is somehow able to fire that.
Well, she doesn't. Reg does.
Oh, really? But he can do it remotely.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because Nanachi says, "Okay, Reg, Rico, now."
Oh, okay.
So like both of them have to do it. Like she has to aim
hold
it,
Yeah.
and he has to fire
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. It's so weird he can do it remotely, but yeah. So that's what
I
they.
mean, he's a freaking artifact from the abyss. He can do basically fucking anything that you want to write into the story.
Well, true, true. But anyway, so this defeats him, quote unquote, but he's still not dead. And even after all that, they still don't destroy that.
He is basically cut in half. Like the lower half of his body is just missing at that point, right? But there aren't any other hands. What are they called?
Umber hands.
Umber hands.
Yeah, they aren't strong enough.
There aren't any nearby, and the ones that are further away, like, can't come and help him. Because of the whole power shutdown thing they did, I guess the power matters. I don't know.
I guess, but then there's still that special item that he's been using that they find. Rico finds it, and they don't destroy it. And at the very end, when they transport to the
Rico finds it. I assume that she did something to it. We just don't see that for some reason.
At the very end, when they're like getting ready to leave to go to the sick. I guess we're jumping ahead a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I'll just say that Rico has like a breakdown with the briefcase of Prushka, and it ends up spitting out a white whistle that becomes Rico's white whistle, since she can't use her mom's because it's specific to the person, and so that was the whole point of Prushka
for the person.
Yeah,
I mean, I thought what they were saying was it had to be created from the person, but I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was for them, but I don't know.
I guess, but yeah, the cost of a whistle is a life,
is a life, yeah,
right? They say that,
yeah,
and I don't know. Yeah, it's very odd. I don't know.
It's confusing, and then this Bondrewd did use his own body to get his white whistle. Is what they said.
Oh, okay. I guess maybe that's where my confusion came from.
Okay, maybe.
Was that he gave his own body, but you didn't have to. You could totally give someone else, I guess.
And that's why Rico.
Although they had to give themselves for you to get a white whistle, I guess.
Yes.
And so then, where did Rico's mom's whistle come from?
Yeah, that's a mystery.
Who gave their life for that whistle?
That's a mystery. We can't criticize that one. Hasn't been revealed yet.
That's true. I mean, that's just coming up in the next movie, maybe or the series. I mean, yeah.
But anyway, so that's how Rico gets a white whistle, and so then at the end of this movie, it's all set up for the next season for them to go to the 6th layer. So that's exciting. But when they're getting ready to leave, Reg, looks and he sees that the Umbra Hands and Bondrewd are still there, but there was like a during the battle, part of his mask got like chipped away, and you could see this crazy looking eye. But now at the end, it looks like just a human eye, and he's like, "What? Why are they still like? I thought we defeated them." And Nanachi's like, "We have an agreement," or something like that. And so that to me said that like they're not going to destroy the, that whatever that item is, that plant looking thing. That allows him to do the,
Well, I mean, essentially they control this elevator, to the next layer or whatever. And they sort of did this with what's her name back on level 3 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Where like they sort of came to an agreement to be able to move on, and they sort of realized it was necessary to have that base there, I guess. And that's, I guess, sort of the same thing here. I don't know.
But it's like that girl on level 3 was like.
I say I guess a lot and like sort of a lot because I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's not clear, and that's what's unfortunate because like this whole story is, going deeper and deeper. More stuff is revealed, and the plot thickens, yada yada. but it kind of the whole
Yeah, and
story is
it's supposed to like every layer, shit's supposed to get crazier, right? Like
yeah.
crazier, crazier, crazier. But I mean, that didn't really happen in this, right? This layer was like different than the previous layer, but like it was not an exact repeat of the third level, but like
Yeah.
very similar. I think
Yeah.
they didn't have to battle with her. Well, they did a little bit, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I mean, you're right. I mean, as far as this fifth layer goes, I mean, you had the parasitic insect thing or plant
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
and then you had this Bondrewd guy. But aside from that, like the actual setting of the layer wasn't that. I mean,
yeah,
that,
yeah. They were just in a field of flowers, and then they were by this fucking whirlpool, and all they have to do is go down through the whirlpool, and they're at the next layer.
yeah.
That's
So it's
really
like,
it. So it
okay,
doesn't seem that hard, man. You know,
yeah.
could have probably done that myself.
And one of my biggest issues is with this Bondrewd guy just as a villain because he never, even at the end when they beat him, he's still able to talk and stuff, and but no one's coming to save him. But he's just like, oh, she's like, haha, I forget what what Nanachi says, but it's like triumphant for her, and he's like, no, I'm proud of you, or you're, my new aspiration is for you to reach the sixth layer and do all the stuff I couldn't do, and it's like,
Good job, kid. I'm glad I tortured you for however long so that you could eventually come to. There was something. One of the characters, one of our main three characters, had a thought. I think that if it wasn't for, I guess it was Nanachi. If it wasn't for her having gone through what Bondrewd put her through, and then she doesn't complete the thought, but the implication is she wouldn't have met them, she wouldn't be doing this, she
Yeah.
wouldn't be going to the next layer,
And-
all of that kind of stuff.
and they
So-
probably wouldn't have made it to the sixth layer,
right,
yeah,
right.
without her.
So yeah, so she sort of credits him for that, I guess. I don't know. There's like some weird mutual respect thing that
Yeah,
whatever. I don't
it was
know.
very.
Japanese.
I mean, no, just like story wise, very confused to me. Like
Mm.
on like I don't know, like I don't like a one note villain, but I like a villain at least that's gonna be this sadistic and this kind of off kilter. To I don't know. It's like we were talking about earlier. You were saying like oh that's when earlier on when we see him like that's when he's still remaining, kind of nice or but he never really breaks that like. It never really felt like their lives were in danger until they were attacking him, right? Because like
He definitely becomes slightly more villainous and taunting, but not just to like certain characters, especially to Nanachi.
Yeah.
Like he says some stuff to her that's
Yes.
very taunting, villainous
it's
sort
like
of
mind
stuff,
games kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
but the I mean, in Reg, he doesn't really care about. So really, it's mostly to Rico. He still appears to be a nice guy, as far as she can tell, but she knows from her friends that he's not, I guess.
yeah,
I don't know.
and most of his dialogue is praise. He's like, "Wow, that was really smart, you guys."
Marvelous.
Yeah,
You're marvelous. So marvelous.
he's just, and I did like that aspect of him, and I just wish I don't know, he was fleshed out a bit more. But because it seemed like they were going for this like sort of intellectual, but also like I don't know, perceptive guy. Like he's not just so fixated on what he's doing. He's like, oh wow, that was a very clever plan you had, and he seems very quick witted and I don't know, intelligent. But in the end,
he does largely seem evil for the sake of evil, which is not the greatest villain ever.
Yeah.
But they do have this sort of MacGuffin that they throw in, like the thing that he's trying to do. The reason he's doing all of this is, what is it? They say some English words. I don't even remember what they are.
I'm forgetting the scene.
Oh, he says it multiple times.
Oh. It's never conveyed in a way that makes sense or adds weight to his character. It's just kind of like, oh, you're in the way. And now he's not. Well, it doesn't really matter to me because looking at his actions, like we already touched on with the Prushka thing, like all of that was just for naught. Like there was no grander purpose to it. And like once he's defeated, he just very easily is like, your aspirations are mine. It's like almost such a, the resolve is not that strong. So it's like, okay, now that we've bested you, we don't even have to kill you. You can continue to live, and we will go do what you were gonna do, and do it better, and that's okay.
All right. So to fill in some details, Zoaholic
Oh, Zoaholic. Yeah.
is the name of the artifact that he uses to keep himself alive.
Yes, that they don't destroy. That we see. They tried so many times to kill him, but it's like once they finally beat him, it really wasn't that triumphant to me. It was kind of like, okay, is he really? I mean, he still didn't destroy the Zoaholic thing, so
Right.
he's still alive. What's going to happen when you come back? But it makes me think of that girl on the third level who Ozen, I'm pretty sure her name is. But yeah, she at first kind of not clear if she's on their side or not. But then we learn later she was kind of testing them to see if they had what it takes.
And that seems like that's what this is too.
Yeah.
Is sort of like him just testing them to make sure that they're tough enough to go to the next. Yeah.
But it's like, was he doing that? Has he always been doing that to everyone he meets? It's just like some of them just turn into amorphous blobs.
I guess. I don't know. Even if they fail, it still works out for him. So who gives a shit?
Yeah,
I guess,
that's true.
right? I don't know.
Like even for Nanachi, like way back whenever that was, he experimented on her and her friends. He was still just trying to use love, and I get maybe that makes him. I mean, the writing is still. But maybe, I guess if that's the case, it makes him more scary because he really is trying to do his best and imbue love into his subjects. But yeah, almost like loving your pet so much that you just smother it to death. Is that what this guy is? The ideology about love and like trying to foster like Prushka and inevitably just turning her into... Like, because at the end, he never has this diabolical moment of, this is my plan. He never has like an expositional moment.
I have done it.
Yeah, like you all fell into my trap. All the pieces are in place. Like this has been my long game.
You've activated my trap card.
And it's not that way at all. In the end, he's like, no, Nanachi, who I tormented and turned into this creature and have, seemingly no regret or sympathy for you about it. Your plight is now my plight. Like, I believe in you. And it's like, wait, what is wrong with this guy? Is this just bad writing, or is he supposed to be this, like, psychologically, I don't know, strange fellow?
Yeah, it's a little bit like I created you, so therefore your success is my success. So your success in defeating me is my success in defeating me.
I guess, yeah.
It's sort of. So I couldn't find the words I was looking for, and I really do just kind of want to watch the movie again now. Because there were two English words that they said in Japanese in English. And they sort of ran them together, but like it was this thing, this sort of MacGuffin thing that like that's what he was trying to attain, that's what he was trying to achieve. I can't remember what the words are because they didn't make any fucking sense.
We had a heck of a time fast forwarding.
Oh yeah, I mean
in High Dive.
Do we want to talk shit about High Dive now?
If you thought Funimation was bad,
then you were right. And High Dive's not much better. So High Dive is no Crunchyroll, but they're also no Funimation.
Yeah.
One of those is negative and one of those is positive.
The good things about this movie, it looked pretty good. The action scenes were especially very dynamic and
well animated, and yeah.
But a lot of the backgrounds are really cool, like cool shading of, they really capture this, bizarre world. Maybe capture's not the right word, but
it wasn't like super bizarre. They're like, I think back to like the first season of this show, and like
when they first descended, a
lot crazier shit going on than anything we saw in this, right?
Not much going on there.
There's grassy, flowery field.
Yeah.
And then there's like this sort of city-ish thing, I guess.
And then the ice things they hop from.
Oh yeah.
Wherever that was.
Very, very brief, but yeah. That was there too. Mm-hmm.
Almost like
And
a video game level, I guess. Something like a
yeah,
Mario level.
yeah.
But yeah.
And then so the bad things. Then you said that this was the good things, and
Well, do you have any other good
scrambling to come
things?
up with them.
But yeah, you had mentioned a couple times while watching this, like, wow, Rico doesn't have much to do.
Oh yeah, she's a background character. Like
Yeah.
she was like, she is the whole instigator of everything that is happening in this show, right? Like she makes everything happen. She's sort of the driving force through the entire series. And then to a certain extent, she's going to be backgrounded because she has agreed to give up some control anyway
Yeah.
to Nanachi, like, saying, okay, Nanachi, we will do what you say because, you're agreeing to go with us and help protect us and everything.
Yeah.
But she should still be, I don't know. Like Nanachi is sort of calling the shots, but not always. And sometimes, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's sort
When
of
at the end, Nanachi referred to Rico as like their leader,
Leader,
or something.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, okay. But then when
she
you were
is.
when you were talking, I was just thinking, I was like, well, now the dynamic they have is like Rico is the knowledge, because he's read all the books and stuff, right? And remembers all that stuff. And then Reg is like the brawn. He's like the muscle.
Yeah.
And Nanachi is like the brain. Like she comes up with all the plans, and they have like these earpieces during this movie, and so always it's almost like military, like recon.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Get to Sector 5. Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
I don't know if that's what they're going for, of like this trio of. But to your point, yeah, I agree. In this movie, like she wasn't given a lot to do, and even the stuff she was there to do, like form a bond with Prushka, they kind of rushed through most of that, and like we don't see a lot of Prushka before she's in a briefcase.
And I mean, a lot of what she's referenced as is just the thing to protect, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
between Nanachi and Reg,
Yeah.
they're, sort of constantly talking about this. Well, I can't protect her by myself, so
Yeah.
I need your help. And like
Yeah.
that's it. She's the thing to be protected. She's no longer even a character. She's just a
Yeah.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, no, you're right. And it's a lot of retconning too. Like I was just reminded of, because we already talked about it, but when Nanachi is saying like I can't protect her, like if you're gone, she's referring to Reg running out of his incinerators and just being useless, right? Running out of power. But then he gets powered up and it's no longer a problem. But like up until that point, like there was actually some tension there. Like you're kind of counting how many times he uses it, right?
Right.
Although he didn't use it till he got
0.
powered up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that I think that was a missed opportunity. Like it's a total retcon. You totally just like got rid of all the tension you had,
Right.
and just for like I don't know for what. Because when they said that, I was like, okay, you can only do 3 more and yada yada. But yeah.
Yeah.
that's
So
gone.
I mean, I guess Rico's whole purpose in this movie was to become close enough to Prushka that Prushka would turn herself into a white whistle for her.
Yep. Yep.
It's essentially it.
Yep. She's a white whistle factory.
And all
for
of that
one.
happens in like the background or off screen, and we see very, very little of it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just, we don't see our leader leading at all. Maybe at the very beginning, not even at the very beginning, because it's like almost immediate that Nanachi sort of takes over.
Yeah.
And it's like, everyone listen to me.
Which it's
And Rico never challenges that or anything, I guess. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, well, Prushka was just underwritten in general because it's like how traumatized that little kid was, and how
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he showed her love and attention in some forms. It didn't seem like he was that like nurturing, aside from his occasional words when she was like.
He gave her a Potamon.
That's true. That's true. So I guess in a sense, like she's probably still feeling unfulfilled, even though she is, put on this like gleeful exterior. So meeting anyone, especially someone around her age and
Or
someone
size.
who she can relate or size. Anyway, no, she just met anyone, a girl around her age or size that she could connect with and relate to her in a way. And then, her Bonjour or whatever, it said like, oh, you're going to meet this girl who is also the daughter of a white whistle.
Child of a white whistle.
Yeah, which he was referring to himself, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is like, okay, but yeah, she had that too. So I guess that's all she needed, and
And then there was the
I
whole
was like, oh, I like
there
you.
was the whole stairway incident thing, and
That's true.
they sort of relied on each other for that, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's like literally
That
just
was
one scene.
supposed to be more of a bonding experience than I think it came off as. But
Yeah, and I think if
yeah,
this wasn't a movie and it was a stretched out into a season,
it would be super boring.
it would be well a lot. It would drag more, but and they probably have to have something else going on in there. But those scenes, I think, with Prushka and Rico could have been drawn out. Like it could have. I mean, you need some more in there, but like you could have taken more care into showing that relationship. You know, if it's so important.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of a good point actually. If this were a series instead of a movie, it would have to take on some more sort of slice of life aspects, which the series did have, right?
Yeah, yeah, more mundane stuff of like,
Yeah.
yeah, and it gave it that contrast.
Yeah. I don't know. It would have been better, I think, actually, despite the fact that it would have been like this movie felt sort of drawn out and rushed at the same time.
Yeah,
I think giving it just more breathing room and just letting the characters be the characters and be natural, be themselves.
yeah.
It could have played a lot better, actually.
Like
Yeah.
if they would have stayed like a day or two, or had been staying at the his place.
I mean, I feel like they were there for like 4 days, probably. Honestly,
Yeah, I guess, but like they never really show that.
they just sort of rushed.
At
through
least
it all,
one night,
right?
because we see them go to sleep, the first
Right,
night.
right. Wait, so one night, so they get there, they go to sleep, and then everything else in the movie happens the next day. Like that all happens in one day.
I mean, I doubt it, but
Right. That's,
yeah, but
yeah.
that's the only impression we're given.
That's true. They don't ever really show them having time to relax and
Yeah.
everything else. So
It's like the odds are stacked. We need to regroup, have a plan, and then it just repeats.
yeah,
We think we got it. We don't regroup, plan.
yeah.
Try it again.
Where would they sleep those other nights though? Because after that first night where Reg is essentially attacked and has his arm cut off, they're probably not going to be sleeping in the chambers that they've been offered
Yes.
anymore. So I don't know. It's interesting. It would be interesting to see it like adapted as a proper season. Anyway.
Well, speaking of this being adapted, it's actually been picked up to be a live action adaptation.
I mean, not specifically this movie, but
No, I know that that was a segue. I was like, oh, I'm gonna jump on that.
Made in Abyss in general. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, Made in Abyss live action adaptation coming in when? Do we know? We don't know yet,
it's just
probably.
reported to be in development.
gotta
I
be
just saw
like-
it today,
yeah.
June 2021. So like that's all there is on it.
Oh, okay.
So
So
probably won't happen.
Probably a couple years, if
if at all.
if at all. Yeah.
But maybe, who knows? I mean, it definitely seems like. I mean, there's a lot of anime.
I can't imagine how it would be good.
Yeah, they would have to take liberties with just the general idea of the abyss and the orphan stuff and the mom, and then kind of make it their own. And that's what
I feel like they're just gonna get wait, who was Laura Croft? Mia
Jovovich.
Yeah. They're probably just gonna get her to play Rico, right? Seems like the thing that you would do if you're
Wow.
making an American adaptation of that. Just Tomb Raider. Yeah, just Tomb Raider it. Yep.
I was gonna think of the girl that most recently played Tomb Raider, which was that Alicia Vikander girl who was in.
Oh, I don't even. There's movies I don't know exist.
She was in Ex Machina. She was the
Oh, okay.
the AI.
The
Yeah.
Machina.
Yeah. The titular character. Yes. Anyway, so we'll see if that happens. But yeah, Dawn of the Deep Soul movie.
Dawn of the Dead.
I think we.
No, wait, that's a different thing.
Dawn of the Dead Souls. Are you still gonna watch the next season of Made in Abyss?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
I'm just checking in because
Yeah, no, I mean,
clearly.
this movie is disappointing in many ways, but like if you watch the first season, then you're pretty much already in for like I'm not going to quit until we get to the bottom, We got to get to the bottom.
Yeah.
And if we don't get to the bottom, I'm probably going to keep watching unless like this next layer takes 3 seasons. At some point, I'm probably going to quit, right?
It's like the fifth layer took 2 hours, and the seventh or sixth one is like, yeah,
A whole season, which
or over a season.
presumably a whole season. It might only be half a season.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe we'll get 6 and 7. We're still unclear on how many layers there are.
Yeah.
Google says 666, but it's wrong.
Well, that was a D&D thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm with you on this. It was disappointing, but not enough so to, deter me from checking out more. So,
Yeah.
I maybe don't look forward to it as much as I was this, but I'll still check it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's doing that same thing where like you set up this story like this is where we're going, this is what we're going to do, and then you proceed towards that furiously and all this stuff happens, and then you just hit a wall and slow way down, and like we were talking about the second half of the first season, or the second arc of the first season. I don't know if it was half of the season. I don't remember actually. Yeah, they're just all on like the fourth layer and, doing that thing, sort of side story stuff. And then the fifth, like it took forever for this movie to even come out. And now that we're here, we get this, which is like, again, it's weirdly rapidly paced, but still drawn out. To me, like it has both of those elements happening, not simultaneously, but intermittently in between. And it's not drawn out in a good way. It's just slow. Like the plot is slow and kind of like, watching a season of My Hero Academia where, nothing actually happens, but a lot happens, but nothing actually happens that we care about. And like what happened here that we care about? Like we added a Patamon to our group. Is that it? That's
I
it.
guess.
That's the only thing that changed. I mean, they made it another layer.
Yeah,
but nothing interesting happened in this layer, so it doesn't matter. And the only thing that's changed going into the next layer is we now have a Patamon. That's it.
Oh, Reg got like recharged and stuff.
Oh, he did, but then he like used his laser like 15 times or whatever, so he has.
But even after that,
he still has more charges left than he had before.
Yeah.
But we also before this didn't know that he didn't have that many charges left, so nothing actually changed on that front as well. Yep.
Yep.
I mean, I guess we now know that there are limited uses to his super laser beam thing.
Yeah.
Which we didn't know before. We sort of assumed they were infinite, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know.
Yeah.
So
maybe that will be put to better use tension-wise, but...
And I guess Nanachi has sort of resolved, not really, her issues. Not really. No.
She's not as afraid as she was of Bondru. Whatever.
Right. She's not as worried about that because, and now so she hasn't been below this layer either. So now we're into new territory that even she hasn't explored. So she's not really any use to us in like telling us, what to beware of and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Rico, has a book that will tell us, the shit that we need to know or whatever. But yeah, like almost nothing changed.
Yeah.
Like this movie, you could skip this movie and just go to the next season and you'd be like, where'd this little winged rat come from? But other than that.
Yeah. And you may not even, you might just accept it. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
So they added a winged rat somewhere.
And
okay,
that's
cool.
Unfortunate because I feel like there was potential just to hit those emotional moments more with Prushka and all that. Like that, like it seems like they rushed all that, the important like emotional points that they wanted to hit.
Yeah. I mean,
but then they drug out the, fighting him trying to fight him multiple times. And,
the fighting shit drug on for too long.
And some of the fights looked really cool, but like just plot wise, it was boring. Like when they first thought they killed him and they didn't, exciting. Everything after that, even
interesting,
the
yeah.
final one, final battle, it's like, okay, he's still there. He's saying bye to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's yeah, you're right. You don't really need it, and that's unfortunate. But
Yeah, I mean, this could have just been like a line at the beginning of the next series, like, "Ooh, whoa, wasn't that some rough stuff on level 5 that we had to go through? Glad we got this little winged rat. Too bad about that Prushka girl." Done. That's it. And now we're into the next season and don't even need to have watched this movie.
you'd be like, "Who's Prushka?" I'm like, exactly.
Does it matter? No, it really doesn't.
Nope. Just a briefcase.
Just someone that died. That's it. People die. It happens.
Yeah, death is inevitable. I mean, all things come to an end, such as this episode of Like Anime.
You can find us on all the socials at Unlike Anime. That's UMLIKEANIME. Leave us comments on Twitter and YouTube and all those places. We like them. And if you don't leave us comments, we're sad. And we will cry. Like inside, not,
Outside.
Yeah.
We'll be indoors when we cry.
Yeah, we'll cry indoors. We will not cry outdoors where other people might see us.
Like the mall.
Yeah, the mall is unless it's an outdoor mall.
Oh, yeah.
It depends on what mall you're going to. Some of them are outdoor malls.
Yeah, indoor malls are dying.
That's true. And that's worthy of crying for as well. So go to your local indoor mall and cry. And anyone that asks why you're crying, just say, like anime.
See ya.